Welcome back to the channel. This will be the team selection for Matchday 5 in UCL Fantasy. I already played the Limitless chip a few weeks ago, but I've still got the wildcard available and 2 free transfers. I'm even open to taking a -4 hit, which is very rare in UCL Fantasy, but I think with the extended format and also the injury issues I have, I think it could be warranted and I could save the wildcard for either Matchday 6 or possibly later in the competition. Smash the like button and subscribe if you're new if you enjoy my content. Our aim is to get this to 200 likes and to keep on pushing towards 35 subscribers, and we'll probably hit that goal by the Tuesday deadline stream in UCL Fantasy. Be sure to tune in for that as well and check out all the other Matchday 5 content like the best wildcard and Limitless team videos, and keep your eyes peeled for FPL content for Game Week 13, the transfer tips, best wildcard squad and team selection as well. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. It has been a while, but I'm going to review Matchday 4 in this section, and Blažević blanked. What a surprise. The same goes for my other goalkeeper, Di Gregorio, one of the worst goalkeeper pairings I could ever think of. The only reason why I pretty much went for them is because they played on different days, and it was one of several goalkeeper pairings that worked from Matchday 1 to 7, but no clean sheets kept by either of them. I thought there would have been 1 or 2, especially from the Juventus goalkeeper, but he was sent off a couple of weeks ago. Things went south for him, and Blažević only started in Matchday 4 because the first choice goalkeeper, now Schlager, was suspended for that matchday. I don't think he's even going to play in Matchday 5, so I need to make a goalkeeper transfer or just play the wildcard chip and have a new set of goalkeepers to really bolster that position. My defence was mixed bag, but Trent Alexander-Arnold kept a clean sheet against Bayer Leverkusen and got a ball recovery point to deliver 7 overall in that 4-0 victory over Bayer Leverkusen. I think the first half was quite even, but Liverpool in the second really turned it on and put Bayer Leverkusen to the sword. Unfortunately, Trent Alexander-Arnold is a major injury out for Matchday 5, and we could see him return in the Premier League for the weekend against Man City, but this Real Madrid game might come a bit too soon, and whoever plays at right back for Liverpool against Real Madrid will be facing Mbappe because Vinicius Jr. is injured. That's a massive blow for Real Madrid, but we could see the best of Kylian Mbappe against Liverpool. My second defender in Matchday 4 was William Saliba, who only got 2 points, no ball recovery points unfortunately, and Inter Milan scored from a penalty, and that's the first goal Arsenal have conceded in this season's Champions League. They have come back to a little bit of form, beating Nottingham Forest 3-0 over the weekend with a very convincing performance. Let's see if they can build upon that. They've got a good fixture run in the Premier League and in the Champions League beyond Sporting in Matchday 5. They've got some very promising fixtures, and you would expect Arsenal to qualify perhaps even in the top 8. And I still think Saliba is a good UCL Fantasy option, but Gabriel is even better because of ball recoveries, and he's also got more attacking potential than the Frenchman. I also had a certain Cubarsí, who has been very underwhelming this season in the Champions League. Barcelona aren't really keeping clean sheets, and Jules Koundé is stealing the show with ball recoveries and attacking potential, and to be fair, there's somebody even better than both of them called Inigo Martinez, who is the highest scoring defender so far this season. He's getting some goals, whilst Cubarsí has 1 clean sheet to his name, not many ball recoveries, and not enough clean sheets for my liking. But he is a budget defender. I still think he has something to offer for the remaining match days of the league phase, but I need to see much more from him and Barcelona defensively. And I have to say, the next 4 fixtures are quite good, but you wouldn't necessarily expect Barcelona to keep 2 or 3 clean sheets. I think Brest at home is the best fixture they have remaining, but Barcelona also have some injury concerns like Yamal, who has been ruled out of Matchday 5. And to conclude this defensive line, I also had Kim Min-jae, the star of this entire position, with a 10-pointer, getting multiple ball recoveries and a clean sheet in that 1-0 victory over Benfica. If only I'd captained him on the Wednesday instead of a certain teammate of his, but Kim Min-jae has always been a very enticing UCL Fantasy option during his time at Napoli and now Bayern Munich because he's one of the very best ball recoverers in the game. A similar trend continued into the midfield. Very mixed bag. Gittins blanked despite having a plum fixture against Sturm Graz at home, and Borussia Dortmund were very underwhelming. They got the job done, but it was their defenders that really stole the show in Matchday 4, so I'm a bit disappointed by Gittins, Guirassy and the other attackers in this game, but Gittins is a budget option. He's been very consistent in the Champions League this season, and that marked his first blank in the Champions League so far. In the first 3 match days, he was very impressive, particularly in Matchday 1, and he scored at the Bernabeu despite Borussia Dortmund ultimately losing to Real Madrid. My second midfielder also blanked, and that was a certain Yamal, who is now injured against Brest. He should be available for the weekend, and if not, fairly soon, so he should be back for match day 6, but it's a big shame to see him miss out against Brest, and for those that own him, he is a sell, unfortunately. And on the Wildcard or Limitless, of course I'd go in a different direction. Check out those respective videos to see the best 15-man squad. With the Limitless, it's a one match day booster like the free hit with no budget restrictions, and the Wildcard is a long-term tool, so you're not only thinking about match day 5, but also match day 6, 7, and 8. But at least I got some returns in the midfield with the likes of Rafinha, one of my transfers in. He got a 13-pointer, and I should have captained him as well. I didn't go there in the end, but that was my mistake. I still had some doubts about him starting, but I took the plunge and went for him in the end. And it would have been even better if I actually captained him as well. That would have been a massive boost, and it would have turned a red arrow into a green one for me. But hopefully, in the next couple of match days, I can nail on the captaincy, which is so crucial in this fantasy game. The last midfielder, though, was a certain Joshua Kimmich, who got 6 points. I was quite surprised by Kim Min-jae and Kimmich. The Bayern Munich players came in very clutch for me on the Wednesday, and Kimmich has always been a fairly consistent UCL fantasy option with ball recoveries, the odd assist. He can score from time to time, and he can also get Player of the Match awards. He actually earned plenty in last season's Champions League. Let's see if he can get 1 or 2 in this season's competition, but I still think there are better options elsewhere, like Lookman at a similar price tag, and definitely much more exciting options who play in more advanced positions, but Kimmich is very versatile, and he can do a job for you in this game. Both of my starting forwards returned, but it's very bittersweet because none of them actually scored. Guirassy got an assist, and it was a very narrow win for Borussia Dortmund in the end, and Guirassy is currently ill and doubtful for matchday 5, so that's another potential injury concern I need to look out for. If I get 1 or 2 more confirmed absentees for the upcoming matchday, I would probably be forced to use the wildcard very soon, and I'm not a big fan of matchday 5 in terms of the balance of the Tuesday and Wednesday games, as you've probably seen in my wildcard and limitless videos, because most of the good players and great fixtures are on the Tuesday, and whilst you have some decent options on the Wednesday, it's just nowhere near as many. Now, this won't be an issue in match day 6, 7 or 8, but it certainly is in match day 5. But ultimately, if I have to play the wildcard, I will activate the chip, and if you refer to my wildcard podcast, you will see what kind of team I'll build towards if I have to use the chip in the end. My second forward and the 11th player is Harry Kane. He also got an assist for Jamal Musiala, but very disappointing because I did captain him in the end over the likes of Rafinha, and even Kim Min-jae and Kimmich outscored him, but he's been very consistent this season across all competitions. And on Saturday, guess what Harry Kane did? He scored another hat-trick with 2 penalties, and even from open play, he can do the business as well. Overall, it's not too shabby when you look at the score and how many players returned, but those that blanked were very underwhelming, and I did sell Gyökeres to get Guirassy. On a positive note, I did buy Rafinha as part of those moves to sell Gyökeres, so I didn't lose out on too many points, but it was still very disappointing if I'd kept Gyökeres and added Rafinha and also captained a better option who delivered more points. This would have been a fantastic week for me, so it's a case of what could have been. My goalkeepers ultimately have been awful, but I don't think it's a position that you have to go out of your way and take massive hits for to really solve. But Blažević and Di Gregorio have been stinking up the gaff for quite a while now, and that needs to be addressed at some stage, especially with both goalkeepers doubtful to start in matchday 5. I don't think Blažević will, and with Di Gregorio, there's always a possibility of Perin taking the mantle in the Champions League. So that's 62 points in matchday 4. Very disappointing. With just 1 or 2 differences in transfers or captaincy, this could have easily been 80 plus, and I have gone down in rank to 54,000. It's not terrible, but also not great, especially considering my rank history. But I'm hoping that my 2 free transfers or the -4 hit, maybe even the wild card, will really help me in matchday 5. It has been a while since I've made a goalkeeper transfer in UCL Fantasy or FPL, but this could be the week, and Maignan is firmly on radar. AC Milan are one of several teams that experience a very positive fixture swing, and I have to say, for me, they have the best fixtures for the remainder of the league phase. I think they're favourites in every single one of those matches, but other teams include Lille, PSV, and also Atletico Madrid. You might want to go for some of their options in all positions, like Tillman, who did really well in matchday 4, and in goal, I wouldn't mind Walter Benitez from PSV alongside Oblak and all these other choices. But I think Maignan has the best fixtures, and I'm not looking at making defender transfers unless Trent Alexander-Arnold is definitively ruled out, then I could possibly go for Theo Hernandez, but I'm very happy with Maignan if he can stay fit. He's fairly injury prone for a goalkeeper, but hopefully he can remain in the starting 11 for the remainder of this group stage. And I do like Bratislava away. That's a promising fixture. AC Milan aren't the most reliable of teams defensively though, and that's why I wouldn't go overboard and triple up on the Rossoneri. I think 1 or 2 is the sweet spot, and Maignan is in the top 3 best AC Milan options in UCL Fantasy. Almost my entire defensive line play on Tuesday, the 26th of November. There is definitely an imbalance for a lot of people this week in terms of the Tuesday and Wednesday. I think the sweet spot might be 9 to 6, so having 9 players on the Tuesday and 6 on the Wednesday, but you can even say 8 to 7 is also pretty decent, and 10 to 5 isn't too shabby. But to have maybe 11, 12 or 13 Tuesday players, that could be a bit of an issue, but at least it's not the other way around and most of the great options are playing on the Wednesday, because that really would severely dampen your substitution potential and you could see a lot of blankers in your final starting 11. But Kim Min-jae can salvage something through ball recoveries. His attacking potential is quite minimal, to be honest, but I think he can still do something here against PSG, either through a clean sheet or those famous ball recoveries that he always offers. My second defender is away from home, and that's Saliba against Sporting. I think Arsenal will concede in this game, especially against Gyökeres, who's been incredible, and despite Ruben Amorim leaving to Manchester United, Sporting won 6-0 over the weekend in the Cup, and they've won 9 consecutive games. They're unbeaten in several months now, and they even beat Manchester City 4-1 back in Matchday 4, so I'm not really too optimistic about the Gunners' chances, but they are maybe in better form right now after that performance against Nottingham Forest, and they could build a run in the Champions League and Premier League to really compete on all fronts. Let's complete this defensive line though with Kubarsi at home to Brest. I'm not a big fan of him right now. I think he's been quite underwhelming, and maybe I got it wrong about him all the way back in the summer, but I still think he can offer 1 or 2 clean sheets in the next 4 match days. Jules Koundé is certainly worth the extra million right now, and at a similar price, you might argue the Atalanta defenders like Jamitsi, Sappacosta and Kolasinac are even better, but all 3 of them are doubtful for Matchday 5, and they missed the recent game for Atalanta, which culminated in another victory. Atalanta are another team that have won 9 out of the last 10 games across all competitions, but if you don't want to go for Kubarsi and you're looking in a different direction for budget defenders, consider those from Lille, PSV and maybe Atletico Madrid with the upcoming fixtures, and maybe AC Milan if you don't go for Maignan or Theo Hernandez, but I think those 2 are the best ways of covering AC Milan defensively. My 4th and final defender in the starting 11 is Grimaldo. He offers so much attacking potential, and that's the biggest plus about him. Even back during his Benfica days, he always had those massive hauls in him. He can get a goal and an assist in the same game, and he did very well back in Matchday 1. And facing RB Salzburg at home, that is a very promising fixture. But looking forwards towards the likes of Inter Milan at home, I just don't like Bayer Leverkusen's upcoming fixtures. So you could argue on the wildcard, you could skip him, but it's very difficult to look past him for Matchday 5 with that plum fixture against RB Salzburg. He can also get a clean sheet in this game and a very big return if he can also add a goal or an assist and the odd ball recovery point as well. I'm very happy with my defensive line, all things considered, but that's only if Trent Alexander-Arnold is available for Matchday 5. Another possible transfer would be Lookman, and unfortunately I'd have to sell Yamal, who is going to miss Matchday 5. That is a big shame, because I was originally looking to get Lookman for Kimmich and really go for the attacking potential for Matchdays 5 and beyond, but Lookman does play Real Madrid in Matchday 6, that's definitely worth noting, but Atalanta can get a result there, especially considering Real Madrid's injuries, and their form hasn't been the greatest across all competitions, and even in the Champions League. I do back Lookman to do well against young boys, but another option would be Tillman, as mentioned earlier, from PSV, or perhaps Pulisic, so all of them are firmly on radar, and I might even go for a different option during the deadline stream, so keep your eyes peeled for that stream as well on the Tuesday. My second midfielder though is going to be a certain Joshua Kimmich. Ideally it would have been Yamal, but as I said, Kimmich is going to play and Yamal is out, so it makes sense to keep the German, and he can offer something through ball recoveries or perhaps an assist, and he played very well in the 3-0 victory for Bayern Munich over the weekend, so I'm quite happy to keep him as a budget option. He might not be the most exciting, but he's consistent and he can get the job done and average 4 to 5 points per match day. My third midfielder is a lot more exciting in Rafinha, who I bought back in matchday 4, and that was one of the saving graces of the previous game week. He faces Brest at home. I'm a bit concerned about how Barcelona will perform without Yamal, and some of their losses this season or drop points have come when Yamal has been absent, as we saw this weekend against Celta Vigo, a 2-2 draw. I just think Yamal makes Barcelona tick, but Rafinha and Lewandowski are the best fantasy options that Barcelona have to offer, and Jules Koundé would be in third. And I think Rafinha is a captaincy option, even with Yamal absent, but I'm just a bit worried about how Barcelona will really perform without one of their star players and also the player that really makes them tick in Yamal. But let's complete this midfield with a certain Florian Wirtz, who is another captaincy option. I think it's one of the biggest decisions of the season to really choose your 26th of November captain on the Tuesday, because not only do you have Wirtz and Rafinha, you can also have Robert Lewandowski, Harry Kane, Erling Haaland, Phil Foden. There are so many different options on the 26th. Even Lookman would be a very enticing option, and I think there could be some nice differentials on the Tuesday that can outperform the biggest and most popular options in the midfield and forward line. But I'm very happy with this position despite the injury to Yamal and having Joshua Kimmich in there, who's not the most exciting. But let's now go to the forward line, which is still looking very solid, but I'm still a bit gutted about selling Gyökeres. One of the teams I tripled up on this season was Bayern Munich ever since matchday 1. They've only let me down once against Aston Villa, and I played the limitless chip when they lost to Barcelona, but Harry Kane has been consistent week in, week out, only one blank in the Champions League so far. He's getting braces and hat-tricks in the Bundesliga every single week, and hopefully he can do something similar in this competition. And if we go back to matchday 1, one of the best decisions I made was captaining him when he got over 20 points and 4 goals against Dynamo Zagreb. I certainly wouldn't expect that against PSG, but the upcoming fixtures for Bayern Munich are very promising, and that's where we could see Harry Kane really deliver with that high ceiling and be a very good captain in matchday 6, 7 and 8. I wouldn't put it past him, by the way, against the French outfit, but I think 1 or 2 goals is a more realistic expectation. However, my final play is Erling Haaland, who has been out of form, and he's playing Feyenoord, who have been fairly decent in recent weeks, but I think Man City will get the job done here, score 2 or 3 goals, perhaps even more. I'm just worried about their balance because they're very easy to bypass in the midfield. We saw that against Tottenham this weekend, a 4-0 loss at home and 5 consecutive losses for Manchester City, which is unheard of during the Pep Guardiola era. But Haaland is a goal-scoring machine. He's still worth keeping in UCL Fantasy, but I think in matchday 6, when he faces PSG and Juventus away back-to-back, that is a good time to sell Erling Haaland, and you can then bring him back for matchday 8 perhaps when he's got a plum fixture. But I just think matchday 6 to 7 doesn't look too good for Man City. But Feyenoord at home is a good fixture in my opinion, and I think Haaland could deliver a very healthy return as your captain on the Tuesday. I'm not saying he's definitively the best. When you also factor in form, I think Lewandowski or Rafinha might be safer bets, but don't put it past Man City or Erling Haaland to get back on track. The bench is always important in any fantasy format, but more so in the Euros, World Cup, or UCL Fantasy, where you can make substitutions. If you have any questions about how the substitutions or this game works, then refer to my How to Play guide or even the chip strategy video I made this season. On the bench, I've got Di Gregorio, Guirassy, Gittins, and Trent. They all play on Wednesday, the 27th of November, and in fact, they're the only Wednesday players I've got in my 15-man squad. Everybody in my starting 11 plays on the Tuesday, and that's where you could argue I've got a slight imbalance between the Tuesday and Wednesday, which is also quite important with the captaincy and substitutions. And when you also factor in that Trent is unlikely going to play against Real Madrid, and probably by the time this video is published, we'll see confirmation of him missing out, I need to make a defender transfer as well. And with Blažević and Di Gregorio being so problematic this season, and also having Yamal injured, this could force me to take a -4 hit, and I'll discuss some alternative transfer plans, which also factors in the possible absence of Trent Alexander-Arnold. In terms of the captaincy, I'm looking to go for Rafinha on the 26th of November, and if I need to, Guirassy will be my backup choice on the 27th, and I think Gittins is a decent kind of alternative for that game, but I think Salah is arguably the best Wednesday captain overall, despite facing the kings of Europe in Real Madrid. And I'm looking at the Wednesday options in general for the captaincy, and I'm not too pleased by them compared to the Tuesday, where we have so many options. You could honestly captain any single one of my midfielders or forwards with the exception of Joshua Kimmich, and Grimaldo would be a nice differential if you're looking to captain a defender as well. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Who are you looking to captain on the Tuesday and Wednesday? Are you looking too much into the balance between both days? And which transfers are you looking to make in Matchday 5? Maybe you're looking to use the wildcard or the limitless. There's so many different possibilities in UCL Fantasy this season, particularly at this stage of the campaign. As I mentioned towards the beginning of this podcast, there is the possibility that I'll activate the wildcard chip this week, and it all depends on if Trent Alexander-Arnold is ruled out due to injury, Guirassy misses Matchday 5 due to illness, and then 1 or 2 other absentees also occur within the next day or two. That could all force me to playing the chip, but nothing is set in stone. I'm also quite happy to take a -4 hit and buy Lookman, Theo Hernandez and Canisechi to replace the injured Yamal. I think Trent is also going to be injured and miss Matchday 5, and the other one would be Blazwich, who's likely going to be benched, and he's not going to get any returns anyway, even if he did start. So I do like these transfer plans, and this isn't locked in, by the way, because as you can see, I've got 3 million left in the bank, so that leaves me with so many different possibilities. I could go for Mohamed Salah instead of Lookman, but that does require a downgrade like Theo Hernandez to Tomori, or a PSV defender like Boskagli, so that is definitely up in the air. Maybe a different goalkeeper like Magnan instead of Canisechi, and that's where the Salah kind of plan does fall into place, because Salah has been incredible this season in all competitions, and even against Real Madrid, I wouldn't mind captaining him on the Wednesday if needed, and I can buy Junior, a 4 million PSV defender who's playing out of position in holding midfield, and Magnan in goal. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Which transfer plans do you prefer? I think the first one might look better overall, but if you also factor in the Tuesday-Wednesday balance, this could be even better, because Salah and Junior all play on the 27th of November alongside Guirassy and Gittin. So suddenly things look a bit more balanced with my squad, and I've got 5 Wednesday players when you include Di Gregorio, who might not even start to be fair, but that is still another player to have, and I'd rather he does play than not play at all. So those are my transfer plans for Matchday 5. The wildcard is also a possibility, and there are different options in each position that I am considering. I don't think I'll make a forward transfer unless Guirassy is ruled out due to illness. Otherwise, I'm very happy with this front three for Matchday 5 and possibly in the long term, but there are so many choices in this position like Griezmann, Gyökeres, Lewandowski and Mbappe. It's worth mentioning again that Vinicius Jr. is going to miss the next 2 match days in UCL Fantasy according to recent reports. He's definitively ruled out against Liverpool. That's a massive blow for Real Madrid. But we could see Mbappe in his best position as the left winger, and we could see a different beast in the Frenchman. Thank you very much for watching this video and listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. I promise to get this to the 200 likes and to keep on pushing towards 30,000 subscribers and beyond. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the links in the description below for my Patreon and the championships for early access to my videos, amongst many other perks, the Discord server, UCL Fantasy League, Draft Hound, as well as Spotify. Leave a 5-star review on my podcast. It goes a long way to support my channel. I wish you all the best of luck for Matchday 5 and the rest of the season, and I'll see you next time.